In 1993, one of the largest manhunts in history was closing in on a single target: Pablo Escobar. He was a criminal so powerful, he brought an entire country to its knees. At its peak, his Medellin Cartel was a global enterprise, with some estimates suggesting it pulled in around $420 million a week. His own personal fortune was estimated to be as high as $30 billion, making him one of the wealthiest criminals in history. But how does the son of a farmer and a schoolteacher become one of the most feared and wanted men on the planet? To understand that, you have to go back to the beginning. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born on December 1, 1949, in Rio Negro, Colombia. His father was a farmer, and his mother was a schoolteacher. Soon after, his family moved to Envigado, a suburb of the nearby city of Medellin, where he grew up. His life of crime started small, with scams like selling fake diplomas and a particularly ghoulish hustle, stealing tombstones, sanding off the names, and reselling them. The 1970s created a perfect storm for the cocaine trade in Colombia. Political instability and a prime location near coca-producing nations like Peru and Bolivia made it the ideal incubator. Escobar was looking for a real opportunity, and in the chaos of 1970s Colombia, he found it in a product that was about to take the world by storm: cocaine. In the mid-1970s, he helped found the criminal organization that would become known as the Medellín Cartel, a partnership between several major traffickers. They established the first massive smuggling routes, bringing coca paste from neighboring countries to be processed in Colombia and then shipped to the hungry American market. At its zenith, the Medellin Cartel, with Escobar at the helm, was estimated to supply as much as 80% of the world's cocaine. Escobar's personal wealth became so immense that a famous, though possibly exaggerated, story claims he spent $2,500 a month on rubber bands just to wrap the stacks of cash. But this empire wasn't built on business savvy alone. It was built on a simple, terrifying philosophy: Plata o Plomo. Silver or lead. It was a chilling choice offered to officials, judges, and police. Take a bribe and look the other way, or take a bullet. While the world saw a narco-terrorist, many of Medellin's poorest citizens saw something else entirely: a savior. Escobar brilliantly cultivated a Robin Hood persona, pouring millions of his drug profits into social projects. He funded substantial housing projects like the famous Barrio Pablo Escobar, giving homes to many who had lived in the city's slums. He also paid for schools, hospitals, and dozens of soccer fields. Escobar's biggest fear was being extradited to the United States. His motto became infamous: better a grave in Colombia than a cell in the United States. To stop it from happening, he declared total war on the Colombian government. This wasn't a shadow war, it was a brutal campaign of terror. The cartel assassinated presidential candidates, high-level judges, and journalists who stood against them. In 1989, in an attempt to kill a presidential candidate, they bombed Avianca Flight 203, killing all 107 people on board and 3 more on the ground. It is also widely alleged that Escobar financed the 1985 storming of the Palace of Justice by the M19 guerrilla group, a siege that left half of Colombia's Supreme Court justices dead, though this claim remains contested. By 1991, the Colombian government was battered and exhausted. They struck a deal. In return, Escobar agreed to surrender and serve a 5-year sentence in a prison of his own design, La Catedral. Perched on a mountain overlooking Medellin, the cathedral was less a prison and more a luxury fortress. It had a soccer field, a bar, a jacuzzi, and even a waterfall. When the government, facing global embarrassment, finally decided to move him to a real prison in July 1992, it was too late. Escobar, tipped off, simply walked out and vanished. Escobar's escape was a national disgrace and kicked off one of the most intense manhunts in modern history. A 600-man special unit, the Search Block, was formed to hunt him down. But they weren't the only ones looking for him. A shadowy vigilante group called Los Pepes, people persecuted by Pablo Escobar, emerged, made up of his rivals and victims hungry for revenge. For 16 months, Escobar was a ghost, but his world was collapsing. Los Pepes ruthlessly dismantled his network, killing his associates one by one. Isolated and cornered, Escobar made a fatal error. On December 2, 1993, the day after his 44th birthday, he called his son. The call was just long enough for the Search Block to triangulate his location to a middle-class house in Medellin. As forces swarmed the building, Escobar was gunned down in a firefight on a nearby rooftop. The death of Pablo Escobar was the end of an era. His funeral drew over 25,000 people, a stark symbol of the divided legacy he left behind. In the decades since, Medellin has undergone a stunning transformation, shedding its title as the world's murder capital to become a celebrated center of urban innovation. In a final symbolic act, the city demolished Escobar's former fortress, the Monaco building, in 2019, and built a memorial park dedicated to the thousands of victims of his reign of terror. The story of Pablo Escobar is a chilling reminder of how one man's ambition can build an empire, shatter a nation, and leave a scar that never truly fades. The rise and fall of Pablo Escobar is more than a crime story. It's a brutal lesson in power, corruption, and consequence. His legacy is still being debated and processed on the streets of Medellin today. If you're fascinated by the complex figures who shaped our world, for better or worse, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell for more. Thanks for watching.